Welcome to my home. Today's yoga practice will be opening up our hips and finding some balance. All you need is a little bit of space and a little bit of time. I'm going to be on my carpet and I'm not going to be using a yoga mat so I don't slide on my carpet. But if you're using a yoga mat, then you will be following along doing the same exact thing that I'm doing. I'm just wearing my yoga mats on my feet. So I'll take my glasses off, put my ponytail on, and we'll get started. Let's all start in a simple cross leg. We'll take our ankles underneath our knees, draw our navel to our spine, and we'll lift our shoulders to our ears, rolling them down our back. Inhaling, filling our chest with air. Exhaling, drawing breath down our spine and towards our belly. Inhaling, filling our chest with air. Exhaling, drawing breath down our spine and towards our belly. Inhaling fully and pausing. Inhaling a little more. Exhaling fully and pausing. Exhaling just a little more. Inhaling fully and pausing. Inhaling a little more. Exhaling fully and pausing. Exhaling just a little more. Inhaling fully and pausing. Inhaling a little more. Exhaling fully and pausing. Exhaling just a little more. Begin to take breath at your own pace. Spending more time in your inhale if you're caring for your upper back, or more in your exhale if you're caring for your lower. Finding the breath pattern that helps you unlock as you work through your practice today. Imagining you had a pillar resting behind your body to help support the spine. So the body stays steady while the breath travels for about 2 more breath cycles. 1. We'll gently transition our hands to our shins, allowing our knuckles to face forward, eyes remaining closed. Inhaling into our seated cow, sternum reaching forward. Exhaling into our seated cat, tucking our chin, tucking our tail, shoulders aiming towards our hips. Inhaling into our cow, holding that imaginary quarter between our shoulder blades. Exhaling into our cat, creating space between each vertebra. Take 3 to 5 more cat and cows, moving at the pace that's right for you. There's no rush. Our eyes are closed so that we're following our breath, following the way our body feels, not worrying about how we look. Being mindful of the positioning of your shoulders, aiming the shoulders to the hips rather than encroaching in the ears. So both the cervical and thoracic spines begin to unlock. And after you've taken what's for you 3 to 5 cat and cows, return back to that upright position, spine stacked, eyes closed, palms facing the sky. Our hands act as mini sandbags as they rest on our legs, encouraging our knees to aim forward rather than aim to the sky. With our next inhale, let's open our eyes and gaze forward. We'll notice which leg we crossed in front. We'll bring our hands to prayer and interlace the corresponding finger by our body. As we inhale, we'll draw our navel to our spine, extending our arms forward, lifting up. With an exhale, we'll release our shoulders down our back. Inhale, we'll slide our chin to the right like we're backing out of a parking spot. Exhale to center. With an inhale, we'll slide our chin to the left. Exhale to center. With an inhale, we'll gaze to our fingers. We'll slowly exhale, gaze forward, gently undoing the interlace, extending our arms out, finding the muscular resistance, pausing it parallel. We'll draw our right hand behind us, hook our left arm to the outside of our leg. Inhale, lengthening, creating space. Exhale, seeing where the space allows us to go. Inhale, lengthening while we're in our twist. Exhale, using that left hand as a hinge, bringing out our belly. Deepening our twist. With our next inhale, we'll uncoil, we'll return back to center. Let's gently lift up our knees, crisscross our legs in the other direction, inching our feet to rest more underneath our knees than not. Our palms connect, we interlace the other finger by our body. Inhale, we'll draw our navel to our spine. We'll extend our arms forward, lifting them up. With an exhale, we'll release our shoulders down our back. Inhale, we'll slide our chin to the left like we're backing out of our parking spot. Exhale to center. Inhale, we'll slide our chin to the right. Exhale to center. With an inhale, we'll gaze to our fingers. We'll slowly exhale, gaze forward, gently undoing the interlace, extending our arms out, finding the muscular resistance, pausing it parallel. Let's draw our left hand behind us, hook our right arm to the outside of our leg. Inhale, lengthening, creating space. Exhale, we'll turn our belly, our heart, and our gaze. Inhale, lengthening in our twist. Exhale, seeing where that space allows us to go, bringing out our belly like a washcloth, deepening our twist. Inhale and coiling, returning back to center. Let's gently lift up our knees. And we're going to sit in a wide V, facing the direction of one of the walls. We'll make fists behind our glutes. We'll lift up our glutes. We'll slide our heels a little bit further away from our hips, aiming our toes to our shoulders. Hands shoulder distance apart in front of us. We'll place our hands on our thighs. Inhale, our spine elongates. Exhale, using those imaginary sandbags in our thighs to keep our legs steady. We begin to shimmy our hands forward, going only as far forward as our back doesn't round. And at that last moment before our backward round, we'll press our fingertips into the ground. We'll elongate our spine. Exhale, we close our eyes, keep our arms outstretched, maybe bend our elbows, perhaps extend our hands to rest out somewhere along our feet. Shoulders aiming to our hips, navel drawing to our spine. Eyes closed, smiling in the direction of the floor. 3 more breaths, lengthening from our hips through our heels, lengthening from our tailbone through the crown of our head. 2 more breaths, shoulders aiming to our hips, navel drawing to our spine. 1 more breath. With an inhale, we'll place our hands under our shoulders, our eyes will open, we'll gently restack our spine. We'll lift up our knees, and we'll draw the soles of our feet together in Baddha Konasana. Interlace our elbows wide, lengthening the crown of our head forward, shoulders aiming to our hips, navel drawing to our spine once again. Then we'll open our feet like a book. The more we press the little toe sides of our feet in towards one another, the more our glutes are opening. Elbows aimed to our knees or forearms on the ground. Finding what feels right. Eyes open or closed, shoulders aiming to our hips. We're here for 3 more breaths. 2 more breaths. 1. Let's open our eyes. We'll keep our book open. We're not quite done with the chapter. We'll take our hands behind us, aiming our fingers forward. Arms about shoulder distance apart. Inhale, we'll draw our navel to our spine, bend our elbows back. Exhale, spread effort between our 10 fingers. Our sternum lifts high, shoulders roll to our ears and down our back. Let's press the little toe sides of our feet into one another. The more we press our feet into one another, the more we unlock the base of our spine. We're here for 3 more breaths. 2. 1. Exhale, we'll bend our elbows. We'll gently restack our spine. Hands to the outside of our knees. We'll lift up our knees. We'll roll onto all fours, spreading out our hands like starfish, turning the inner aspects of our elbows towards one another. Let's lift up our right knee. We'll tuck the right leg behind our left thigh, trying to keep left hip and knee in alignment. We'll curl our right toes. Inhale, lengthen through our heel, extend the crown of our head forward, even weight through our hands. Exhale, we'll look past our left shoulder to our right ankle. Inhale, filling our right lung with air, expanding our lung capacity, stretching our shirt. Finding that stretch from right hip to heel and right hip to shoulder for one more breath. With an exhale, we'll soften our right knee. We'll bring our thigh back to parallel gaze between our thumbs. Stay here. We'll extend the left hand, two limbs of balance. Or perhaps capture our foot, pressing our foot into our hand, getting a little bit more of a quad stretch. And stretching that left shoulder girdle. Two more breaths. One. With an exhale, we'll meet in all four, finding our cat. Inhale, tucking our chin, tucking our tail. Exhale, finding our cow, holding that quarter between our shoulder blades. And we'll find our neutral spine. We'll lift up our left knee, keep right knee and hip in alignment. With an inhale, we'll curl our toes, lengthen through our heel, extend the crown of our head, even weight through our hands. Exhale, we'll look past our right shoulder to our left ankle. A nice long inhalation fills our left lung with air. And an equally long exhale nourishes our lower back. Stretching left hip to heel, left hip to shoulder for one more breath cycle. With an exhale, we softly bend our left knee, bring our thigh close to parallel, foot flexed. Gaze between our thumbs, three limbs of balance, or add in stability, extending the right hand. Perhaps capturing the foot, stretching the quad, opening the shoulder girdle for three more breaths. Two. One. With an exhale, we'll meet in all fours. Inhale, we'll round our back into our cat, exaggerating our cat. We'll curl our toes and we'll find our first down dog high in our tippy toes. With an inhale, we'll bend one knee, lower the opposite heel. Exhale, vice versa, pedaling at our feet. Stretch our calves and our Achilles with a conservative knee bend. We're taking a little bit more adventurous knee bend to get into our lower back. Three more breath cycles wherever our body's taking us. Two more, customizing our practice as we need right now. One. Inhaling high in our tippy toes. And with an exhale, we'll simultaneously lower heels towards the mat. We'll draw our thighs to the wall behind us, lift our shoulders to our hips, turn our armpits towards our yogi mat neighbors as we gaze to our navel and nod yes and no, freeing our head, neck, and shoulders. We'll allow our head to be passive. We'll start to walk our hands back to our feet, softening our knees as much as our hamstrings would like. And when we arrive at the back of our mat, we'll place our first two fingers and thumbs around our big toes. Inhale, our spine elongates. Exhale, we bend our elbows wide, folding our heart. We'll let our head be passive. We'll lengthen our legs as much as our hamstrings wish. Smiling in the direction of our legs, taking tension out of our jaw for two more breaths, letting gravity help us open. One. Exhale, deep bend in our knees, hands to our hips, tailbone descends, spine stacks. We bring ourselves to upright. Inhale, lifting our arms high, palms connect. Exhale, elbows bend, thumbs descend, lengthening our triceps. Inhale, fingers high. Exhale, deep knee bend, protects our back as we hinge. Inhaling into our half lift. Exhale, bending our elbows, folding our heart to our thighs. We'll soften our knees, place our fingers by our toes, and we'll walk ourselves out into our plank. Carefully lower into our bellies, letting the fronts of our feet touch. Inhaling into our cobra, shoulders roll to our ears and down our back. Hands on the ground for flexibility, or hovering for strength. Gaze at the floor in front of us, holding that quarter between our shoulders for two more breaths. One. Hands down at the throat. We'll curl our toes, press our heels into chaturanga. Then inhale into our downward facing dog. From our down dog, let's walk footprint by footprint. And when we arrive at the front of our mat or our hands, we'll find a chair, navel draws in, tailbone descends, hands extend 3/4 up the wall in front of us. Let's transition effort to our tippy toes, elevate our heels. With an inhale, we'll bring ourselves to upright, balancing on our tiptoes. Exhale, heels descend, elbows bend, thumbs descend, lengthening our triceps. Inhale, arms lift. Exhale, deep knee bend, protects our back as we hinge. Inhaling into our half lift, hands anywhere but our knees. Exhale, bending our elbows, folding our heart to our thighs. We'll soften our knees, place our fingers by our toes, and we'll stride back with our left leg. Keeping right knee over ankle. Inhale, rounding our back, straightening our legs, gazing to our shin, lifting our left toe or right toes for a little more space. Exhaling into our lunge, shoulders lengthen to our hips. Inhale, rounding our back, straightening our legs, gazing to our shin. Exhaling into our lunge, keeping our chest very close to our thighs like we were doing cat and cow. Rounding our back, straightening our legs. Exhaling into our lunge, left palm or fist on the floor or on a block. With an inhale, we slide our right knee past our shoulder to the sky. We'll pivot our rib cage, holding a beach ball between our left rib and our right leg. Left knee on the ground perhaps, or pivot our toes to the side wall, getting into the IT band. Or maybe find side plank and balance. We'll all reach our right arm to the sky. 3 more breaths wherever we happen to be. 2, 1. With an exhale, we'll meet in our lunge. We'll soften our left knee, step our left knee forward to join our right. It's balancing like a flamingo. We'll bring ourselves to upright, finding our tree, externally rotating that left hip, tiptoe to the floor, foot to the calf or inner aspect of our thigh. Avoiding any sideways pressure in our knee. Thumbs encourage our sacrum to descend as the crown of our head lifts. Hands in our lower back, maybe at prayer. Perhaps our tree limbs grow. Maybe we wish cactus. Maybe we wish to hold on to our elbows behind our back, or reverse angel wing, reverse prayer behind our sternum. Closing our eyes is the greatest challenge of our balance. Looking at a spot on the floor in front of us for 3 more breaths. 2, 1. We'll all open our eyes, place our hands on our hips. We'll let our left leg hover. Inhale, we'll fill our chest with air. Exhale, softening our right knee, hands under our shoulders. We'll step back into our plank. We can rest in down dog or hover. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog, curling our toes. Joining our friends in down dog. We'll look to our hands. We'll soften our knees. And we'll step forward to join our hands. Finding our chair once again, navel draws in, tailbone descends, hands extend 3/4 up the wall in front of us. This time we'll transition effort to our heels, our toes lift. Inhale, we fill our chest. Exhale, we'll sit down into our chair, fingers aim to the floor. Inhale, toes touch thighs, draw together. We bring ourselves to upright. Exhale, mini back bend, elbows bend, heart lifts, gift card between our legs. Inhale, fingers high. Exhale, deep knee bend protects our back as we hinge. Inhaling into our half lift. Exhale, bending our elbows, folding our heart to our thighs. We'll soften our knees, place our fingers by our toes, and we'll stride back with our right leg, keeping left knee over ankle. Inhale, rounding our back, straightening our legs, gazing to our shin, lifting up our left toes to create more space. Exhaling into our lunge, knee over ankle, shoulders lengthen to our hips. Rounding our back, chest very close to our thigh. Exhaling into our lunge, looking right around that left foot. One more time, rounding our back, gazing to our shin. Exhaling into our lunge, right palm or fist under our shoulder on a block. Inhale, the left hand slides past the knee, past the shoulder to the sky. We rotate our rib cage. The right ribs hold a beach ball between our body and our thigh. Right knee in the ground. Perhaps pivoting the toes to the side wall to get into the IT band. Or finding a side plank, balancing. Lifting that left arm to the sky for 3 more breaths, reaching out of the floor. 2, 1. With an exhale, we'll meet in our lunge. We'll soften our right knee, tuck the right knee in to join our left. And once again, we'll impersonate our flamingo. Externally rotating that right hip, preparing for a tree, thumbs to our sacrum. Tiptoe to the floor, foot to the thigh, or foot to the calf or inner aspect of our thigh. Tailbone descends, crown of our head lifts. Protecting our back, hands at prayer. or taking any of the other hand positions afforded to us the first time. Tree provides two opportunities to expand our chest. One chance to balance on each leg, one chance to open our hip. Eyes open or close, 4 more breaths, finding that focal point somewhere on the floor in front of us. 3 more breaths wherever we are. 2, 1. Inhale, our arms lift from wherever we've happened to be. We'll balance. Exhale, hands under our shoulders. Stride back with our right and then our left. We can rest in down dog or hover. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog, curling our toes. Joining our friends in down dog with our big toes touching. We can stay here or lift our right leg high. Perhaps come up onto the ball of our left foot. Maybe bend our knees, stack our hip gaze under the left armpit at the heel. Trying to keep the shoulders square to the mat, rotating from the navel. Stillness stretches the quad, circling the knee in space unlocks the hip. Customizing our practice for 3 more breaths. 2, 1. We'll look to our hand. Right hand on our thigh, left arm deeply crosses over, hands to prayer. With an inhale, the crown of our head lengthens. With an exhale, we press our hands into one another, stacking ribs, shoulders, elbows. Hands at prayer, fly, or bind. Left knee remains on the ground, or we curl our toes and elongate. Finding where our body would like to be, customizing our practice. 3 more breaths wherever our body's taking us. 2, 1. With an exhale, we'll meet with our hands under our shoulders. We'll step back into our plank. We can rest in down dog or hover. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog, curling our toes. Joining our friends in down dog. We can stay here or lift our left leg high. Maybe come up onto the ball of our right foot. Perhaps bend our knees, stack our hip gaze under our armpit. Once again, squaring our shoulders to the mat, finding the rotation from our navel. Perhaps circling the knee in space, or finding stillness, opening the hip, or stretching the quad. 3 more breaths wherever we are. 2, 1. Let's all look to our hands, and we'll step our left foot forward into our lunge, knee over ankle, surrender the right knee down. Left hand to our thigh, right arm deeply crosses over, hands to prayer. With an inhale, the crown of our head extends, and with an exhale, we press our hands into one another, stacking ribs, shoulders, elbows. Hands at prayer, fly, or bind. Right knee up or down, yogi choice. 3 more breaths wherever we happen to be. 2, 1. With an exhale, we'll meet with our hands under our shoulders, step back into our plank. We can rest in down dog or hover. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog, curling our toes. Joining our friends in down dog. From our down dog, let's lift our right leg high to the sky. Let's start to walk our hands back until we create a large pyramid with our 2 hands and left foot. We'll soften our elbows, surrender the crown of our head down, gazing to our shin. With an inhale, we open our right hip, finding strength and flexibility. No strain in our neck. If you want more and to add in balance, soften the left knee and begin to walk the hands closer to or in contact with that left leg. 3 more breaths wherever our body's taking us. 2, 1. Let's all create a larger pyramid wherever we bend, soften our left knee, and we'll walk ourselves out into our plank. We can rest in down dog or hover. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog, curling our toes. Joining our friends in down dog. Let's lift our left leg high. We'll walk our hands back until we create a large pyramid with our 2 hands and right foot. We'll begin to bend our elbows, surrender the crown of our head down, looking to our shin. And inhale, opening that left hip to the sky. Stay here for strength and flexibility. Or add in a component of balance by walking the hands closer to or in contact with the right leg. 4 more breaths. Crown of our head surrenders, no strain in our neck. 3, 2, 1. Exhale, larger pyramid, right knee softens. We'll walk ourselves out into our plank. We can rest in down dog or hover. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Curling our toes. Joining our friends in down dog. And in our down dog, we can stay here. Or lift our right leg high. Maybe come up onto the ball of our toes and that left foot to stretch our arch. Perhaps with an exhale, we draw our knee to our nose for 3, 2, 1. Inhale, right leg high. Let's look to our hands and we'll step our right foot forward into our lunge. Pivot the left up 45, heel to heel. Prepare for warrior 1, hands to prayer by our right big toe. Inhale, our legs are strong. Exhale, we float up, shoulders roll to our ears and down our back. Then we'll immediately externally rotate that left hip, warrior 2, shoulders stack over hips, navel draws in. Inhale, palms up, we'll slide our right hand forward a little. Exhaling into our reverse warrior without or with a bind. Perhaps the left hand aiming to our right hip, right hand reaching to our left ankle as if our car keys were dangling over our ankle. Maybe we hold onto our shirt, maybe our fingers. We're stretching from right hip to shoulder, lengthening left hip to heel. The external rotation of our hips unlocks the base of our spine. Perhaps we lift and lower the toes in each foot to find more stability from our waist down, to find more flexibility from our waist up. 1 more breath. Inhale, back into our warrior 2. Exhale, we'll cartwheel our hands down, step back into our plank, right thigh parallel. Let's walk our hands back till they rest under our shoulders. We'll soften the left knee. We'll place our hand on our thigh for warrior 3 balance. Thigh is strength, hips keep us honest. Prayer airplane is a little more from the upper back. Interlacing the right finger by our sacrum, reaching our hands back is a little more. Find where you wish to be, squaring hips and shoulders to the mat. 3 more breaths. 2, 1. With an exhale, we meet with our hands and our hips, soften our knees, and we'll walk ourselves out into our plank. We can rest in down dog or hover. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Curling our toes. Joining our friends in down dog. Stay here. Or lift our left leg high. Perhaps come up onto the ball of our right foot to stretch that arch. Maybe with an exhale, we draw our left knee to our nose for 3, 2, 1. Inhale, left leg high. We'll look to our hands and we'll step our left foot forward into our lunge. Pivot the right up 45, heel to heel. Hands to prayer by our left big toe. Inhale, our legs are strong. Exhale, we float up into our warrior 1, stack shoulders over our hips. Then we'll open our right hip, warrior 2, palms up. Inhale, our left arm slides forward a little. Exhaling into our reverse warrior with or without a bind. Externally rotating our hips. Strength from our waist down as we work on the flexibility from our waist up. Stretching left hip to shoulder. Lengthening right hip to heel. 2 more breaths. 1. Inhale, warrior 2. Exhale, we'll cartwheel our hands down, step back into our plank, left thigh parallel. We're going to walk our hands back, aiming our heel to the wall behind us. Softening our right knee, we'll place our hands in our thigh for strength in warrior 3. Maybe our hands in our hips to keep us honest, prayer airplane, or the left finger interlaced by our sacrum. Finding our focal point underneath our heart. 3 more breaths wherever we happen to be, squaring hips and shoulders to the mat. 2, 1. We'll meet with our hands and our hips. Exhale, right knee softens, hands under our shoulders. We'll walk ourselves out into our plank. We can rest in down dog or hover. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog, curling our toes. Joining our friends in down dog. And in our down dog, we'll meet with our big toes connected. We'll all come up onto our tippy toes. We'll take a deep bend in our knees, chest close to our thighs. Let's lift our shoulders to our hips, turn our armpits towards our yogi mat neighbors, gaze to our navel. Then we'll extend our legs, nodding yes and no. Bring our head, neck, and shoulders. We'll let our head be passive. We can stay here. Or lift our right leg high. Maybe come up onto the ball of our left foot. Perhaps with an exhale, draw our right knee towards our left elbow for 3, 2, 1. Inhale, right leg high. Let's look to our hands and we'll step our right foot forward into our lunge. Pivot the left hip 45, heel to heel, prepare for warrior 1. Hands to prayer by our right big toe. Inhale, our legs are strong. Exhale, we float up, shoulders roll to our ears and down our back, navel to our spine. Arms shoulder width, interlace or cactus. Inhale, let's look towards our mirror image on the wall across from us. We'll look up that wall to the ceiling, finding a back bend. Hot air balloon lifts our heart to the sky, shoulders draw down our back. An anchor aims our sacrum to the ground as that hot air balloon lifts our heart for 2 more breaths. 1. Inhale, traditional warrior 1, arms. Exhale, once again, we'll open to our warrior 2. But let's turn our gaze in the direction of our heart. We'll turn our palms in the direction of our heart. With an inhale, our arms extend, our elbows bend. Elbows and palms connect, or right elbow on top. Finding our eagle arms, rounding from spine to heart. Lifting the elbows to about the level of our eyes, stacking wrist over elbow so thumbs don't hit our forehead. Inhale, let's pivot our torso, pivot our left toes forward. With an inhale, we elongate our spine. We'll bring our arms close to parallel to the floor. Then we'll transition to warrior 3, squaring our hips to the floor, just as we did when we walked our hands back. This time we're rounding from our spine to our heart for 3 more breaths. 2, 1. Exhale, deep bend in our right knee, right hand under our shoulder, left hand on our hip. And we're turning that warrior 3 into our Ardha Chandrasana half moon. We're going to gaze towards our right hand. Heel aiming away from the crown of our head, toes wiggling to the wall by our side. And with an exhale, we can turn to look to our left shoulder. Perhaps we extend that left arm. 3 more breaths. 2, 1. With an exhale, we soften our right knee, hands under our shoulders, the left leg tucks behind our right. So our little toes are much closer than they were. We'll lift and lower our toes. Inhale, we'll elongate. Exhale, we'll bend our elbows wide, surrendering the crown of our head to the ground. Inhale, let's shimmy our fingers to the right, stretching our left IT bend. Inhale through center and to the left, stretching our right IT bend. Inhale back to center, we'll open our eyes, we'll soften our knees. We'll stride back with our left and then our right. We can rest in down dog or hover. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog, curling our toes. Joining our friends in down dog, stay here. Or lift our left leg high. Maybe come up onto the ball of our right foot. Perhaps with an exhale, draw the left knee to the right elbow for 3, 2, 1. Inhale, left leg high. We'll look to our hands and we'll step our left foot forward into our lunge, pivot the right up 45, heel to heel. Preparing for warrior 1 again, hands to prayer by our left big toe. Inhale, our legs are strong. Exhale, we float up into our warrior 1, shoulders roll to our ears and down our back. Arm shoulder width, interlace or cactus. Inhale, we find a spot to look at. We follow that spot through the ceiling into our back bend. Our heart lifts, our sacrum descends. We're strong from our waist down, flexible from our waist up. 3 more breaths wherever we are. 2, 1. Inhale, traditional warrior 1. Exhale, externally rotating into our warrior 2, opening that right hip. Let's turn our gaze in the direction of our heart, turn our palms that same direction. Inhale, we'll extend our arms, bend our elbows. Elbows and palms connect, our left elbow on top. We lift our elbows to the level of our eyes. We stack wrist over elbows. Inhale, we'll pivot our torso, pivot our right toes. Inhale, we elongate, balancing on the left, finding our warrior three. Squaring our hips and shoulders to the mat as we did when we walked back. This time we're rounding from our spine to our heart. 3 more breaths. Heel aims to the wall behind us, crown of our head aims to the wall in front of us. 2. Our hips stacking our shoulders. You can always use a block underneath the left hand if you prefer. Inhale, we look to our left shoulder. Exhale, we turn our gaze to our right. Perhaps we extend that right hand. Perhaps we take that left hand off the floor for more core strength. Perhaps we bend the knee, capture the foot for a little bit more of a quad stretch and a back bend. 3 more breaths in our warrior, or 3 more breaths in our half moon. 2 more breaths. 1. Exhale, deep bend in our knee, our toes. Inhale, we elongate. Exhale, bending our elbows, surrendering the crown of our head down, shoulders lift to our hips. We close our eyes. With our inhale, we shimmy our fingers to the left, stretching our right IT band. With an inhale, we shimmy our hands through center and to the right, stretching that left IT band. Inhale, back to center. We'll soften our knees. Step back with our right and then our left. We can rest in down dog or hover. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog, curling our toes. Joining our friends in down dog. Stay here with our big toes touching. Or lift our right leg high. Maybe come up under the ball of our left foot. Perhaps bend our knees, stack our hips, stillness or moving as we did the first time. Or maybe we flip our dog, finding where we wish to be on this first side. 3 more breaths, customizing our practice. 2. 1. Flip dogs, return back to down dog or 3-limb down dog. We'll all look to our hands. And we'll step our right foot forward into our lunge. And heel to toe, walk the right foot towards our left wrist as we prepare for our pigeon. Let's take our hands to the outside edge of our mat. We'll curl our left toes, lengthen our leg. Inhale, we fill our chest. And with an exhale, we elongate, extending our torso out along the floor. We could stay as we are. If you want a little more, tuck the left hand in the space created by the right limb and the right leg. Aiming the palm up, reaching for the side wall. Allow the left shoulder to rest on the floor, the right hand reach back, perhaps capturing the toes. And if you don't want to do the capture, you could have the hands at prayer, rotating in the direction of the right knee. Wherever your body is taking you, take your pigeon of choice for 4 more breaths. 3, 2, 1. Let's all meet with our hands on the floor and the outside edges of our mat, spine elongating. Stay here, or bend the left knee, aiming the heel to the glute, perhaps bringing the right hand to the midline. Maybe the left hand high-fiving the side wall, palm aiming for the arch, maybe hand on top of the foot, maybe toe in the crook of the elbow, perhaps a bind. Find where your body would like to be for 3 more breaths. 2, 1. We'll all meet with our hands under our shoulders. We'll curl our left toes, we'll lift up our right knee, and we'll find that hybrid plank down dog, circling that knee in space clockwise and counterclockwise. And we'll eventually tuck our knee to our chest, and we'll find our down dog. We'll pedal out our feet a couple of times, and then we'll pause. We can stay here, or lift our left leg high. Perhaps come up onto the ball of our right foot to stretch our arch. Maybe bend our knees, stack our hips, stillness or circling the knee. Or maybe flipping our dog on the second side. Customizing our practice for 3 more breaths. 2, 1. Flip dogs meeting in down dog or 3-limb down dog. This time we'll look to our hands. We can do the lunge or soften the knee and float the shin towards the front of our mats. Inhale, elongating, curling the right toes, lengthening that right leg. And we'll gently walk our hands forward. Elbows bent, stacking our foreheads perhaps, arms extended, forehands on the ground, or finding a twist. 4 more breaths wherever we'd like to be on this second side. Each side is different, each day is different. Find what your body would like at this moment. I always give lots of options because we never know exactly how we're going to feel each time we practice. 2 more breaths wherever we are. 1. We can stay as we are or take our hands to the outside of our mat. Maybe bend our knee, maybe bring the left hand to the midline. Perhaps the right hand high fives the side wall, palm to the arch, top of the foot, or toe to the crick of the elbow. Maybe we take a bind. We'll find where our body would like to be. 3 more breaths. 2, 1. Let's meet back with our hands on the outside edges of our mat. Finding our plank, down dog, hybrid, circling that left knee in space, moving clockwise and counterclockwise. Pausing. And then we'll find our down dog, lifting up high into our tippy toes and pedaling, bending one knee, aiming the opposite heel to the ground, just as we did at the beginning of our practice. Conservative knee bends, stretch our calves and our Achilles. Adventurous knee bends, get into our lower back. 2 more breath cycles. 1 more. Inhaling high on our tippy toes. Exhale, simultaneously lowering our heels to the ground. We'll draw our thighs to the wall behind us. We'll lift our shoulders to our hips, turn our armpits once again to our yogi mat neighbors as we gaze to our navel and nod yes and no. Then we'll allow our head to be passive. We'll surrender our knees underneath our hips. We'll pivot onto one hip or another, no preference. We're going to extend our legs forward. And extending our legs forward, we're going to keep the left leg extended, heel aiming to the wall in front of us, toes aiming to our shoulders. We're going to take that right foot, and we're going to rest the arch of our foot a little bit wider than our hip. We'll take the left hand to the outside of our mat in line with our left hip. Inhale, we lengthen, extend the right arm forward. And with an inhale, we reach our right arm around our right leg. We stay here looking at our left leg, or we take a bind. Strong right foot helps us open our hip and shoulder. 3 more breaths. 2, 1. If we're bound, we'll undo. We'll meet with our left hand on the outside of our left leg, right hand on the outside of our right. We'll gently elongate. We'll take the right foot towards our left elbow, the right knee towards our right elbow, and we'll cradle our leg like a baby, rocking it side to side. We can change the hand position. If that's not comfortable, we don't want to round our back. So find where your body would like to be. You'll find that one side might be just a little bit more open than the other. One more time, moving clockwise and counterclockwise, then we'll pause. We'll let the right foot rest on the ground. We'll take that left hand behind us once again. Right arm on the outside of the little toe. Inhale, we lengthen our leg. Left hand is our counterbalance. Maybe we open our hip a little more. And if we want more from our hamstring, we could extend our heel forward. Maybe reach both hands for our foot or reach under our calf muscle. Maybe bend our elbows to bring our thigh closer to our chest. You know what feels right. With an exhale, we soften our knee, we extend our right. And then we'll gently bend our left knee. We're going to soften our left knee, bring the arch of the foot towards the outside of our hip. Right hand reaches on the outside. of that right hip. Right heel aims forward, toes aim to our shoulders. Inhale, we lengthen. Inhale, we reach. And with an inhale, we bend that elbow. Bind or no bind, that's our yogi choice today. Gazing at our right leg, the strength of that left foot pressing into the ground helps us open that left hip and shoulder. 2 more breaths wherever we are. 1. For bound, we'll undo. Take the right hand to the outside of that leg, left hand to the outside of our leg. We'll elongate. And then we'll cradle, bring the foot to the elbow, knee to the elbow, or modify the hand positions as needed. Moving our femur through that hip socket, clockwise and counterclockwise. Pausing. Placing the foot on the floor, right hand behind us as our counterbalance, left hand reaches the outside edge of our foot by the little toe. Inhale, we lengthen. Stay here, maybe open the hip. Or if we want more from the hamstring, extend the leg forward, holding the foot or by the calf, maybe bending the elbows to bring the thigh a little bit closer to the chest. 2 more breaths. 1. Exhale, we'll soften the left knee, lower it down, right hand underneath our right knee. We'll lift it up. Our shoulders roll to our ears and down our back. And we'll allow our heels to touch the ground, our arms to lift. Inhale, we fill our chest. And with an exhale, 1 vertebra at a time, we roll back down to the ground. Using our core strength, and when we arrive at the ground, we're going to find a bridge, heels to our glutes, navel to the mat, hands strong, pressing into the floor. Inhale, hands and feet are strong. Exhale, we find that inclined plane, shimming our shoulders underneath our hip, our shoulders underneath us, interlacing our fingers and reaching our interlaced fingers to our heels and then lifting up onto our tippy toes. Imagining we had a pillow of yoga block, a shoe between our thighs. Finding our bridge for 3 more breaths. 2. 1. Let's undo our shoulders and shimmy them. 1 vertebra at a time. Elongate our spine away from the crown of our head. And when our sacrum reaches the floor, we tuck our knees into our chest. We place our palms on our kneecaps. And our right hand circles our right knee, moving it both clockwise and counterclockwise. Imagining our toes are moving through some iced tea or some hot tea, depending on the temperature. We're stirring it like a spoon. Then we'll pause and we'll stir with that left. It's iced tea or it's hot tea, depending on the temperature outside right now. Pausing. We can move our legs together or together separately to unlock the base of our spine. We'll pause. Let's hold behind our thighs. Let our shins be free. We'll take a deep breath in. And as we exhale, we'll curl our head, neck, and shoulders to our knees, finding a nice little ball with our bodies. With an exhale, we'll allow our torso to descend. 1 at a time, we'll extend our legs forward. 1 at a time, we'll reach our hands back. Let's interlace our thumbs and reach our fingers and toes away from the midline of our body. With an exhale, we'll let it all go, sliding our hands along the floor, resting palms up about 8 inches from our side body. Sliding our legs out to rest about mat distance, apart, heels in, toes out, taking Shavasana here. Or perhaps placing a hand to the heart and a hand to the belly to focus on our breath. In Shavasana, our eyes are closed. If we ever feel like we have some eye strain, we can move our eyes through the compass points. Our closed eyes can inhale and move towards our forehead. Exhale back to center. Inhale down towards our jaw. Exhale back to center. Inhale to the right. Exhale back to center. Inhale to the left. Exhale back to center. Wherever our eyes happen to have been traveling, we can let them be steady. If our eyes weren't traveling, we can always do that at a time throughout the day, not during our practice. Just make sure our eyes are closed. Let's tuck our thighs into our chest, holding behind our thighs, letting our shins be free. Pointing and flexing, rotating, wiggling, taking tension out of our feet, our toes, our ankles. Then we'll pause. We'll roll onto our right hand side, opening and shutting our eyes, preparing ourselves for the rest of our day. Let's press our left hand into the floor and then our right, gently guiding ourselves up. We can find the simple cross like we used at the beginning of class. We could perhaps find a half lotus, full lotus, or Virasana hero's pose with our knees, shins, and ankles together. We'll lift our shoulders to our ears, we'll roll them down our back, and we'll close our eyes as we turn our palms to face the sky. Let's imagine there's a golf ball on our left shoulder. Our left ear will lift up and over that golf ball. Right fingers with a feather-light touch. Breathing and swallowing. Lengthening and opening. Inhale, we'll bring our chin back to parallel. Right hand descends. Golf ball's on our right shoulder. Our right ear lifts up and over that golf ball. Left fingers with a feather-light touch. Breathing and swallowing. Lengthening and opening. Inhale, our chin back to parallel. Left hand descends. We'll lift our shoulders to our ears. We'll roll them down our back. And as our shoulders extend to the wide edges of our mat, our chin becomes heavy, folding to our chest, letting the back of our neck lengthen through gravity. We'll all bring our hands to prayer at our heart. And namaste. Thank you for joining me in my home today. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you when we practice again next time. Bye-bye.